Hari Om friends, and welcome to the seventh part of the series on the Karnataka Empire, popularly known as the Vijayanagara Empire. In this part, we will briefly take a look at the Hoysala kingdom of Karnataka. So we had a look at, in sequence, Gujarat, Devgiri, then the Kakatiyas of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. So now we are moving further down to Karnataka, and we'll be having a look at the Hoysala kingdom. So Hoysala kingdom was very extensive, and again this is a map I got from Wikipedia. So it covered almost all of modern Karnataka. So let's get the laser pointer on. All of modern Karnataka, lot of the coastline, and also parts of Tamil Nadu. So rest of the Tamil Nadu was ruled by the descendants of the Pandyas, and in Kerala you had the Cheras. So it was a rich and flourishing kingdom, and with a lot of seaports. So obviously they had a lot of revenue from sea trade, teak, etc. And Hoysala kings were known for their patronage of Kannada literature and fine architecture and sculpture. I'll show you a couple of images later down, later on the line. And many temples from the Hoysala period still survive to this day, and they are absolutely superb examples of craftsmanship and art. So you look at the sculptures and you wonder how they did this. And the capital of the Hoysalas was a city known as Samudra. So this is modern day Halebid, I think there's a Kannada pronunciation, in Karnataka. And the last ruler of note of the Hoysala dynasty, and during whose reign the Muslim invasions actually began and culminated, was Veeraballala III. And he ruled from 1291 to 1344, roughly. So he was a very foresighted, capable, and brave ruler. And he was quite an interesting example because he knew when to retreat, when to compromise, and when to also go on the offensive without compromising his core structure. Okay. And he, after the second wave of Muslim invasions, which was the Tughlaq invasions, had kind of subsided, and you had these different Muslim sultanates kind of getting entrenched in the Deccan and in Tamil Nadu as well. He was one of the foremost defenders of Dharma, and the Vijayanagara Empire can be rightly said to be a direct descendant of Veeraballala III's efforts. And even at the age of 80 years, so when he was actually murdered, by the sultans of Madurai, he was still fighting vigorously on the battlefield. So quite a great king. So let's have a look at his kingdom on the eve of the first Muslim attack on Karnataka, which was around 1310, 1311, again by Malik Kafur. So this was the Hoysala emblem, which is Sal fighting the tiger. So my knowledge of the backstory is very sparse. I think there was somebody called Sal who went and killed a tiger, with his knife or sword or khadga, because his guru told him to do so. So this was the emblem of the Hoysala, and you can look at the carving. It's absolutely fantastic. So I'm not sure from which temple this carving is from. People can put it in comments if you have visited, all these places. I haven't, so someday I will. Let's move on to the next slide, and this is present day Samudra. This is obviously just one shot of one kind of temple ruin over there, but I believe it's spread over quite an extensive complex. And let's have a look at the map. So again, this is a rough map. So this is the lake or the water body called Samudra. It's now called Samudra, but it's Samudra. And this is present day Halebid. And you have got all these temples, Hindu, Jain temples, and there are a lot of spots around here which are not excavated yet. Okay, so a lot of the huge city is still not excavated. So there are a lot of temples, sculptural finds, etc. So quite an extensive capital. The Muslims used to call this as Dorai Samundar. So in Muslim records, this is known as Dorai Samundar. So quite a rich, extensive city, and you have to remember that all these capitals, Hindu capitals, had not seen such a predatory invasion for a very long time, where they were pretty much stripped of all their wealth and riches. So just like the Padmanabh Swami temple, which I keep quoting again and again, there was a massive amount of accumulated riches, because the kings always saw themselves as custodians of the wealth, not as owners of the wealth. So there's a very big difference. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide. And this is what I was talking about. So look at the examples of art. So this on the left hand side is Vishnu Murti, and on the right hand side you have got a dancer. um, I remember there's a term for the dancer sculptures. I have a book as well, but the name escapes me now. And the book I have is in Marathi. It's got a study of various dancing sculptures or sculptures of dancers. I think it's from temples in Maharashtra, from the Devgiri era. So look at the carving in stone, absolutely fantastic. It takes a different level of skill to do these things. So you can look at this and see what we have lost. And if you look at a lot of these modern day temples with their kind of featureless marble sculptures, so the sculpture of Sri Ram looks the same, Sita Amavaru looks the same, Lakshmana looks the same, and then you have got murtis of Shri Krishna, they all look the same. So you look at this and you compare them to these modern day temples and you will understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's move on. So this was a map I made a long time back. I do apologize, it's not very clear because I couldn't find the original PowerPoint in which I did it. So I could only find the image, which isn't very great. But this gives a rough route for the invasion. Now, with these invasions, remember these Abrahamic kingdoms, empires, sultanates, whatever you want to call them, they are all predatory and parasitical in nature. So they always feed off a host. So typically, again, in the case of these Delhi Sultanate, different kingdoms of the Delhi Sultanate, they fed on the neighboring Hindu kingdoms or distant Hindu kingdoms, so attacking, raiding, looting, and then kind of getting the fuel for the next attack. So if you think about our previous episodes, there's a pattern. So they raid, say, Gujarat, get a lot of wealth, then they launch an attack on the Rajputana, get wealth, then they launch an attack in central India, the Chandela kingdom, and then once they get the wealth, they launch an attack on Devgiri, more wealth, they launch an attack on the Kakatiya kingdom, and so on and so forth. So this route is based on the description given in S. Krishnaswamy Iyengar's book, which is available freely on Internet Archive. Um, and Malik Kafur reached Devgiri in 1311, I think it was 3rd of February. And now Muslim sources say that Ramadeva helped provided all the materials to invaders, but there's a very big question, and I think this was raised in a book by Vedvi Rare or somebody else, whether Ramadeva was actually the ruling king at that point of time. Because again, see, the problem with how history is kind of interpreted and written for Hindus in modern day India is very, very patchy. So if you find two inscriptions and they refer to the same king or the kings have the same name, for Sri Ramachandra Deva, but the eras and centuries are different, then one of them is discarded and whatever fits into the narrative is taken. So there are thousands of inscriptions which are dismissed as forgeries, or where the engraver didn't wasn't very good and didn't engrave the time and everything right. But you have to remember that these engravers had been doing this for generations. So if you look at the present day sthapatis or temple architects in Tamil Nadu, they have been doing it for centuries, and they will not make these mistakes. So similarly, those who engraved inscriptions were doing it for generations, so this was a generational trait, and they wouldn't make these very basic mistakes like getting the date wrong, which was very vital, especially for royal inscriptions, which were being done for posterity. So again, big question whether it was Ramchandra Dev or it was somebody else. We don't know. So we'll assume that it was somebody there, and they helped guide, Kafur's army into, the Hoysala domains, which were obviously on the border because Hoysala domains kind of overlapped into Maharashtra as well. So thus suitably provisioned from Devgiri, Malik Kafur started on 7th February 1311 and reached a place called Bandir. So S.K. Iyengar says this is Pandharpur in Maharashtra, yeah, which is, again, get the laser pointer on. So switch it off, it's getting on. So Pandharpur is around here. Okay, so this is the route of the invading army in red as it comes down and as it retreats. So this covers kind of invasion of Madurai and the Pandya kingdom as well, which I'll touch in the next set of slides. But as far as we are concerned, we'll stop here at Dwara Samudram or Halibut. And this was, so they reached the border of the Devagiri and Hoysala kingdoms near Pandharpur. Okay, so in the next set of slides we will kind of touch on the invasion of the Hoysala kingdom itself. Okay, so that's it for this time. I hope you liked it. If you have liked it, please do remember to like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Hari Om.